I want to talk about this idea, so I'm going to get right into this video. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. And the effects of idealizing a person in social constructs affects all of us in our daily lives and how we act towards becoming a better person in whole. And to better outline this, I'll give you a pretty simple example where you have, right, this is Christianity, the Christianity triangle. Everyone tries to be Jesus. You have usually leaders underneath, parents, educators on this middle level, and then consumers on the bottom. And then you could obviously probably argue there's like an upside down triangle, which leads down to like this hell, right? Because there's always like the two polars. But anyways, so these effects of the social hierarchy system is many, right? So one of them is that it's used to offset the suffering that life naturally develops. And the way it does this is it brings a meaning towards what you're currently doing in your life, and it helps you or helps create like a sort of space for a deeper purpose and meaning in your life to be developed. Because without this social hierarchy system, you basically you don't have you're basically mindlessly aiming, and you don't really know, you don't have no idea of where you want to go or where is a good spot to go. So even if you don't have the capacity to understand exactly where you want to go, you can at least have a general idea of, okay, that is a good spot to go. Let me go follow these virtues. Without that, there's no sense of deeper importance, and you would be a lot more lost and just not really there, right? Mentally or physically. And you wouldn't end up depressed, but you just end up blank. You'd be like a void person. If that makes sense? So another effect or thing rather, that really comes up when you see the idealization of one person in a social like group is how how their importance gets measured and fought against. So a lot of times, right? I'll do this example with the president. When the president of the United States becomes elected, there's a lot of importance and responsibility put upon him, right? So with that responsibility upon that person, they must act out in a way where they can show their competency and their ability to do things that will make their country better or make their whatever land mass states thing better, right? So with that being said, it's really interesting because you sometimes get to see these rare anomalies where these people that are being brought up are actually against what the main social hierarchy is, right? And you can really see this with like the gay movement, right? Of any sort, like whatever you classify that as under, right? And the thing is that these types of movements, right? These ones that often just come up sporadically during like random time periods, they're all against what the main ideology of social hierarchy is at the time, right? If there's something around Christianity, right, where it's not hedonistic and you are following a virtue to become a better human being for other people, there's always going to be the opposite of being hedonistic, taking everything for yourself, and not contributing to the value of society as a whole. And for most people, we understand that, okay, that the one where he's talking about hedonism is horrible, right? And the one where he's talking about virtues is good, which is a pretty good common understanding. So with that being said, what happens when the other side wins, right? And I want to say it's chaos, because every time a social hierarchy system has revolted against the main pyramid, I guess, right, and won, it usually creates a lot of chaos because the majority of people were under this old social hierarchy. So they're going to be trying to fight for their values upon this new hierarchy that just won. So basically, you have two battles whenever you fight a war. You have the battle of literal people and who has more power, and then you have the social battle of who has better values. But that's the interesting thing, because in order for the battle of better values to even exist in the first place, there has to be this main hierarchy. Because there's no hierarchy, no one knows what's actually better, right? There's no pattern recognition without that. And what I mean by this is, like, if you see a line, you know to back up, right? If you didn't have that pattern recognition and you just got ate by the lion and you watched someone else get eaten by the lion, like, that'd be awfully stupid, wouldn't it? So, fighting against watching these social hierarchies battle against each other, especially in the United States where they're literally everywhere, it's really interesting because it follows it actually kind of follows a game. It's an Asian game, I think. I think it's like a Chinese game. It's kind of called Go. I think it's called Go. And you have like a bunch of pieces on the board and you try to surround an enemy with like your other pieces, and like it's odd. You try to like isolate their army essentially, right? And you see that happening in modern society in America. Because you see there's this movement, that movement, that movement, that thing, right? There's so many different things going on that you can't actually process what's happening. And social media doesn't help either, because I believe that they actually built this empire by constructing connectivity between so many people that the chaos of their emotional turbulence rose over and they basically blockaded all logic from implementing itself into reality as it is. You see this with a lot of people that just look at their phones constantly, like while they're walking, and you see all those clips of them like hitting a pole or something, right? Or like hitting a window, because they're so distracted and they're so emotionally charged that they don't take the time to understand, okay, I need to observe my surroundings so I don't get fucking hit by something, right? Like, I'm sure that there's probably studies out there of people getting hit by cars because they're like this, and they're walking the street. It's like, what the hell are you doing, right? There's that social hierarchy construct that helps understand that they always emphasize a focus and a type of, they emphasize a focus and a consistency, and I cannot talk, oh my god. Man, hold on. Let me dehydrate myself some more. Man, I actually, like, it's horrible, but going back, focus and consistency, they are two very important things idealized by the main hierarchy that we know of, right? Think of any religion that's like very popularized. You get the focus, determination, gifting to others, losing ego of yourself, and basically anything that falls underneath those categories, right? Social, mental, physical, so on and so forth. So, the point I'm getting at here is people that resist a modern social hierarchy in reality are going to end up warping back to the original one, because in order for that hierarchy to achieve power, you have to be deriving yourself against the main social source. And if that source got taken over, like I mentioned, the other sorts of social patterns would completely collapse because their power was based on the other one that existed before. So if one were to happen to gain the power over other people, I believe what would happen is that a lot of people would change and a lot of people would resist, and there would be a giant second battle, an after battle per se. Because we live in an information era where you can constantly see someone else's ideas and you can constantly see the best ideas visible to pertaining to becoming a better human being. Simple as that. So, going on now, What I really want to mention is that every single person that's watching this probably has a very, very good idea of how to become a better person. And they strive toward that, which is very good. So, round of applause. However, I'd like to suggest that instead of just idealizing these things, we have to now act upon these things. We don't have to lift the heavy weight. We don't have to talk to the people. We don't have to gift them the things that they want to be received. Because we need people that are strengthened. We need people that are willing to give something to people, that are willing to fight for something, because we don't have those people anymore. That's why we're dying from the inside out. That's why there's so many different subcultures that are existing that believe that they should have the power over everybody else. Because no one has the actual strength to institutionalize one core central order, which would deny any bullshit, right? But then you can go look at random Asian countries like Tajikistan, right? It is a place I didn't even know it existed. I looked up on Google Maps when I heard about it, and it exists. And the people there, they don't know about the bullshit, right? They're like, okay, you need to go to work, become stronger, help our country. Boom. Become a better person. And that's all they need. And they just do that. So, someone brought up a really interesting point, is that in the next 100, 200 years, there's going to be a very major dynamic shift in who has power. And I have a feeling it's not going to be America, it's not going to be UK, and it's not going to be Canada, it's not going to be Australia. It's going to be probably China, an Asian country, or Asian countries, like underdeveloped, or what's that place? Why can I not think of the name? It's the place with Dubai in it. United Arab Emirates? Yeah, the UAE. Yep. United Arab Emirates. And that will be a very interesting outcome. And to develop on that idea, they will have the most economic resource because, China has the most resources. B, Dubai has the most money. C, Tajikistan has the most the most disciplined type of culture, right? It's like those types of countries. So the power shift is very interesting, and you can see how history is developing in the future. I want to argue that this is the first time we've been able to see history develop towards a future and not see it as a past perspective. So our judgment on our present actions has become much different compared to what it is in previous eras. And that part can actually be used, to bring this everything that I've talked about in this video, to a level of entrepreneurship and philosophy. Well, for starters, you can just rewatch the entire video for philosophy and you can understand the ideas that are being presented. For entrepreneurship, however, it's kind of difficult to understand what are we doing here. This helps us understand the core values our audience has. And this helps us understand what does the audience value? The audience values a person who can give knowledge, power, and independence to the person listening, and rather not try to sell them on something that they can get their own personal value from, but rather maybe someone who can give it to them as an extra thing if they desire so, without limiting their knowledge or their implementation of the knowledge in the first place. And that's the second problem of the new social hierarchy that's being created in the creator economy. Because you see these people, very popular people, they tell you the ideas, but they won't tell you the implementation. And either that's lack of communication, which I have, so I can emphasize that, or it's lack of understanding how to develop money, right? Because they say to develop money is to be giving to people, right? If that is the case, then why not just give the people the knowledge and the implementation? That is a much more powerful, attracting revenue given resource than it would be to just sit there and say, okay, I can give you the ideas, but I can't give you the implementation because that's going to cost you money. Like, what? Like that's basically saying you should go do push-ups, but I can't tell you how to do push-ups. Like it sounds really stupid when you actually bring it down to like a simple concept. So, and it also deviates from the normal social concept, which might make it actually a more popularized option because people like deviation rather than normality, especially in modern society. So, that's going to change though, because there's going to be a lot of people. I think traditional values, because of like people like Andrew Tate, for example, or like Iman Gaji, or basically, well, Iman is really doesn't have that, but like the people that are bringing up traditional masculine values, which there's a lot of them these days, these people are just simply predicting the future of what's going to be life in the next 100, 200 years. There's going to be a lot of technological development, but there's going to be these traditional values mixed in, so it's going to make a very interesting time of development, and it's going to be the most chaotic part of the life of human life, and it's going to be the most prosperous, because the people that can get their shit in order, the people that understand, okay, I need to do this right now, and this right now, and I see that thing's happening, so I'm going to use that to my advantage, those are the people that are going to be able to absolutely control everything. Those are the people that are going to be able to do all the dangerous things that people are thinking that are going to happen, right? You hear these, I don't even want to say theories, but these they're kind of true. Like they have some truth to them because you can dot the pieces together and it's really scary. But like you have these people saying like, okay, they're gonna 5 times energy prices. They're gonna make you fucking eat insects. They're gonna make you not use emissions for the climate, and they're gonna make you not buy any beachfront property, right? But the elite people are doing all the opposite. They're flying on their private jets. They're using up all the energy that they want. They're eating a shit ton of meat because meat is protein for the body to grow, and the mind too. And then the fourth one, whatever I mentioned, whatever the fourth one was that I mentioned. Oh yeah, I think it's something about climate change. No, it's beachfront property. They're buying up the beachfront property, as Andrew Tate says. So, going off these ideas, why aren't we doing the same? Oh, I don't have enough money. But it's not about having the money. It's about having the ideology. Because if you have the ideology, you'll get it in time. You have to strive for something to get it in time, right? You have to strive for money to get it in time. You can't simply wish it to be true, right? I can't. If I wanted to be an influence and I wanted to bring ideas to people and implementations to people, like I am here, I can't just go and say, oh wait, yeah, I'm gonna go sit there and wish that a video gets magically uploaded. Like, I gotta fucking record the video. Whoa, hello there. Who are you? Also a spider. Okay, I'll leave it alone, because I'm a nice person. Actually, not really, but like, I'll just leave it alone. But I don't know if you can see it, it's like right there, going down. But nature is cool, right? That's a cool thing too, is that, or that's another problem too, honestly, because we can see the results of climate change, for instance, right? Germany's energy prices went up by 5x, went under Putin's control. The poor crisis is severely increasing in global standings. Like as for higher developed countries like Germany, France, Europe, like just Europe in general, kind of, minus like the type of what was I gonna say, minus the type of countries like maybe Slovenia or Slovakia, or just what I mean. So, and then the popular 4 is what I call them: U.S., Canada, Australia, Britain, the popular 4. So, going off this idea, these are all coming from the idealization of a certain human being, right? because they think that this person idolizes nature, therefore we have to save it. However, is there a problem with nature in the first place? I don't think so. I mean, if there really was a problem with nature, motherfucker, that thing would summon up 5 hurricanes, come to your house, hunt you down, and you'd be dead. We'd be dead. Okay? Nature is not something that needs to be controlled by anybody. In fact, it doesn't need to be used to do anything. If it really did, then a lot of people would end up dying. Because, oh wait, I don't have enough energy? Well, I'm fucked. Done. Like, that's a sad reality, is that if there was really a problem, why aren't we seeing a shit ton of people dying? Right? If there really was a problem with climate change, right? Or maybe the fact that, for example, for Canadian wildfires, which might be a resistance, maybe, have you ever figured out that Canada might have not implemented their, policies properly to maintain the fire? No one's looked at that. Another interesting thing, right, is, about the special virus, I'll call it, and Sweden stayed open the whole time. No one talks about that. What are the effects of that, right? Because we know the effects of closing everything down. Pure chaos, isolation, mental health decline, put us on 35 fucking pills. You get the idea, right? You can go from there. Use your creativity. But it's just, this is all mentally taxing because it's going against what normal people know as growth, towards personal growth. It's just as a general thing. Like, people are just willfully blind to, oh wait, there's a cause there? Oh, I should do that thing? Okay, yeah. It's like, what are you doing? Like, dude, like open your eyes, look around, and think. Here's the next part. Before people in the modern society deviated from the social hierarchy so much, we thought about the social hierarchy. We thought, okay, this thing's good. Let's develop it better. Okay, I'll follow this thing. Why do I follow this thing? Because people are developing in a better way. And it allows me to guide myself to become a better person. That's a thought. But what's happening with technology, with people, with psychology, with literally like a lot of things, is that it's shortening. It's like boom, 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 boom. You're just absorbing information, but you're not actually processing or thinking. They're removing your ability to think, so that way they don't need you to think about the ideologies that they're trying to implement, which are against the normal ways of a successful society. And that's awful. It truly is. Well, with all of this being said, I want to mention a couple more things. And for those that have watched this, thank you. Because it shows me that there is some hope, that there are people out there who actually think about these kind of things and actually process it in their minds. So I appreciate that. And another thing is that for those who didn't watch it all the way through, those are the people we have to be concerned about the most. Because the people that, I mean, obviously I'm not the best creator, right? But the ideas should be captivating enough, if you're thinking about it, to understand that, yeah, this is very important. This is going to affect my life in the next 10, 20 years. And if you know anything about a population decline, the population, like, people that do statistics are saying that the population is going to severely decline by, like, a lot. Like 4 or 5 billion, I believe. After it hits, like, 10 billion, roughly. So, that's the crazy part, right? Is that people aren't waking up anymore, and the people that aren't waking up are going to be left behind. So I want you to be aware of this. I want you to be able to use this philosophically and as an entrepreneur to display benefits and disadvantages and advantages towards your product, your service, whatever. And I want you to develop a sort of better way of being a human being, right? So that's going to sum it up for me. Thank you for sticking around. And as always, we're here to help you help them.